Welcome to the Sports Watchdog radio show, hosted by Mason Kern. He keeps his nose to the ground to report on what's trending in professional and college sports, to inform, enlighten, and entertain. And now it's
the Sports Watchdog.
the Sports Watchdog, Mason Kern.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Sports Watchdog radio show on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 Phoenix. I'm Mason Kern here with you every Sunday from 7:30 to 8 a.m. And I'm obviously certainly glad you decided to join me this morning. And as always, I do have some great stuff in my kennel. Today we'll be hearing from former NBA power forward and center Corie Blount, as well as former MLB second baseman Jack Perconte. I'll also be covering some sports hot topics, and for you basketball-specific fans, interesting happenings on the hardwood. So we'll first start off in sports hot topics this week with a little World Cup preview. That's right, we are in June. We are in the month of the World Cup. It's been 4 years since the last one, and boy, let me tell you, a lot has changed. And not for the better here in the United States in terms of men's soccer. Obviously, with the women's team, we are a national powerhouse, international powerhouse, I should say, because the women's team has won more gold medals than any other country in the World Cup in women's soccer. However, the men's team, guess what? They're not even in the World Cup this year. Very sad, very disappointing. They didn't qualify after, let me just give you the backstory, I guess. They had to defeat or tie Peru, then they had to defeat or tie Trinidad and Tobago in order to move on and qualify for the World Cup. Well, Christian Pulisic, who's the young sensation on the U.S. men's national soccer team, he plays over for Borussia Dortmund in Germany. He came out before the Peru game and said, hey, we're not going to let you down. We're going to qualify. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure the United States is well represented in this year's World Cup. Because you have to wait 4 years if you don't make it. That's a long time, and a lot can change in that time span. Well, they come out and they do their job. Christian Pulisic scores a goal. They win 4-0 against Peru. So that was the first step in order to qualify for this year's World Cup. And I think that kind of gave the U.S. men's national team some confidence, maybe a little too much confidence, heading into Trinidad and Tobago, a team who obviously, I don't know if many people have even heard of that country or even knew they had a soccer team in the first place. No offense or anything, but, a much less represented team in the World Cup. And so everyone thinks, okay, well, we beat Peru, and now we have a lot more confidence heading into Trinidad and Tobago. Well, guess what? Trinidad and Tobago came out and said, hey, we're not going to give you this game easy. And guess what? The United States lost 1-0. They needed a win or they needed a tie. Worst case scenario, a tie. Well, they lost 1-0. They were embarrassed, played a horrible game, did not even qualify for this year's World Cup. So that being said, I'm still very excited for the World Cup. Once in every 4 years that this thing comes around. Obviously, it's going to be a lot less exciting just because the United States isn't in it. Not saying that the United States would go very far, because I don't believe that the U.S. has an internationally great powerhouse team. But at the same time, it's nice to root for your home country. So now I'm forced to kind of pick a different team. And my favorite player, my favorite team internationally in Europe, it's Real Madrid. Hala Madrid. I'm a big Cristiano Ronaldo fan, so I could root for Portugal. Definitely gonna root for their success. Colombia, 4 years ago, they put on a nice performance. I like their little dances. James Rodriguez. And I also like Wales with Gareth Bale. A lot of my Real Madrid players spread out across the international waves of this team, or of these teams in the World Cup. Wales, Colombia, Portugal. And then just randomly Sweden. I'm a big Zlatan Ibrahimovic fan, so him playing for the LA Galaxy now, also here in the United States in the MLS. I could also see myself rooting for Sweden as well. So some big name players to root for. But once again, the United States men's national team not in this year's World Cup. You'll have to wait 4 years if you hope to see them in the World Cup again. Won't be in it this year, but let me know who you guys are rooting for on social media at @sportswatchdog on Twitter, or at the Sports Watchdog on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well. Let me know who you guys are rooting for in this year's World Cup. All right, everyone, don't go away. The Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 will be right back after this short break.
If you're ready for a boast-worthy staycation, the AAA Four Diamond Hermosa Inn, located in Scottsdale's Paradise Valley, is for you. This luxury hotel offers authentic Arizona character and charm. Its 43 newly renovated casitas are nestled in a garden setting with breathtaking views of the lush desert and Camelback Mountain. Most accommodations include deep soaking tubs, beehive fireplaces, and private patios. Other property features include a lively bar and communal seating areas, on-site painting classes, free-use beach cruisers, seasonal poolside yoga, hot tub facilities, a business suite, and dining to die for. The Hermosa Inn is an ideal locale for small group getaways, from weddings, intimate family vacations, and bachelorette weekends, even golf outings, board meetings, and executive retreats. And its award-winning on-site restaurant, Lawns, is renowned for globally inspired Arizona fare, complemented by a subterranean wine cellar. You can see amazing photos of this and much more at hermosainn.com. That's hermosainn.com.
Hey there, welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060. I'm your host, Mason Kern, and joining us now on the line is Corie Blount, a former NBA power forward/center. Corie was drafted with the 25th pick in the first round of the 1993 NBA draft by the Chicago Bulls. He would spend 11 years in the league, spanning across 7 different teams, including our very own Phoenix Suns between 1999 and 2001. Initially drafted for his athleticism, Blount developed a reliable mid-range jump shot over the course of his career, and he retired in 2004 with 2,287 career points and 2,690 career rebounds. He also appeared as himself in the 1996 film Eddie. So Corie is here to share some insights into his professional career and what he's been up to now. Hey Corie, welcome to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show. So glad you could be here.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much again for coming on. So, first off, I understand that you played your collegiate career and really had a lot of success at the University of Cincinnati, leading your team to a Final Four berth in 1992 and an Elite Eight run in 1993. So why were you able to realize so much success in your collegiate career?
Well, I think it's because we had a great group of guys. When I came to the University of Cincinnati, I was a junior college All-American coming from Santa Ana, California, where I had just won 2 championships in junior college, along with myself and a fellow teammate, Eric Martin. And then we also brought along Terry Nelson, who we played in the championship game. So those were 3 guys that was familiar with winning at a high level. And then when I got here, I became teammates with Herb Jones, who was a junior college All-American, and he had just won the national championship down in Kansas. And Nick Van Exel was runner-up in Texas, and they had just won a championship. So we had a good group of guys that was used to winning, had a good philosophy on what it took to win. And as junior college players, we knew we were only going to be there for 2 years, and we had a lot to prove. So I think we showed it when we got on the court that what we were committed to, and then following Hug's rules and his philosophies on what it would take to win, we bought in and we were able to be successful.
Yeah, and you definitely realized a lot of success, like I said, and then, like you said, in junior college as well, that winning atmosphere, winning mentality coming into college. And then you go and decide, hey, I'm going to put my name in the draft hat in the NBA draft and see what happens. So can you kind of describe draft day a little bit and all the emotions that went with that?
Well, it was very exciting because I was supposed to be picked at the 17th pick of the first round by Boston Celtics. I had a great workout with them, and I was told that they would possibly pick me at that 17th pick, which they didn't. They ended up picking A.C. Earl, but I also had a phenomenal workout with the Chicago Bulls, and Jerry Krause promised me, he said, if you're around when we pick, we're going to definitely draft you. So during the course of the draft, I didn't go to Boston, but I was still happy because I knew I had already had the meeting with Jerry Krause, and he said he was going to make me his 25th pick, and they ended up doing that. And I was just very happy about the opportunity to be a Chicago Bull. I grew up in Los Angeles, so I was always a Laker fan. And my teammate, Nick Van Exel, was a Bulls fan, and we would argue back and forth all the time who was really the best between Michael and Magic, and he ended up getting drafted by the LA Lakers, and I ended up getting drafted by the Chicago Bulls. So we watched the draft together that day, and we both went to he went to my favorite team, and I went to his favorite team. So that's the most memorable thing I remember about the draft, that we ended up going to each other's favorite teams.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, who would have thought? That's quite a coincidence for sure. But I mean, then you go and, like I said, you get drafted by the Bulls and you make it to the NBA. How difficult really was the transition from playing college ball to then being thrust in with all the pros?
Well, for me, it was a little simple because the demand that we had in college, our college practices was sometimes 3 and possibly 5 hours if Hugs didn't really think we was giving him his best efforts. And I ended up getting drafted by the world champ. So going into camp, Phil wasn't really trying to work guys out hard because they had just went through the course of the season and played all 82 games and then ended up winning the championship. So when those guys come to camp after that, they're not doing much. They don't really want to push guys too much. They really want them to be able to get prepared for the next season. So camp was real easy. And I'm thinking, like, man, if this is how the NBA is going to be, I'm going to be all right. Lo and behold, those 82 games came, and I just found out that playing against tougher guys, at that time I was maybe 245, athletic, but just wasn't really ready for the pounding of a power forward. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, was just getting my body right, getting prepared mentally and physically to play at that pro level, at that power forward and center position.
Definitely. I mean, and the level of competition definitely probably increased as well once you started playing those bigger guys as well. And, I mean, you kind of played in a completely different generation of basketball than what is the NBA today. So obviously you also play with a different array of star talent too. So who are kind of your most memorable teammates, or who did you get the opportunity to play with, and what do you remember about your time in the league the most?
Well, for me, I mean, I was blessed to play with the best. I mean, I started off playing with Michael and Scotty, two superstars there, and then when I went to LA, I ended up playing with Magic when he came out of retirement. I had the opportunity to play with, Vlade Divac, Eldon Campbell, Eddie Jones, and then later on with the Lakers, Kobe and Shaq came. So that was a phenomenal time right there with the Lakers. Went to Phoenix and ended up playing with Jason Kidd, Penny Hardaway, Tom Gugliotta, Rex Chapman. So has played with some great guys on Jason Kidd. So that was another great team. Then when I left there, I went to Cleveland, had a chance to play with Sean Kemp, who was a superstar.
Definitely.
And, so my course during the NBA, I ended up playing with some really, really phenomenal players along my journey, and it helped me just being prepared to be an NBA player.
Yeah, definitely, I'm sure. I mean, playing with all those guys definitely increased your level of play, too. And, I mean, you mentioned your time right here with Phoenix, our hometown team. So what would you say you kind of miss the most about playing with that organization with our Suns?
Man, I love Phoenix, man. I was really disappointed when I got traded. I got traded from there to go to Golden State, but at the time, man, that was one of the that was the best group of guys that I felt I played with, as far as just everybody's chemistry and each individual player getting along very well. I mean, I love the city of Phoenix. I lived in Scottsdale. I just love the whole environment of the Phoenix atmosphere. Just the fans were terrific. They supported us. The organization was strong. I was so disappointed when I got traded.
The league has definitely changed quite a bit. And now that you are in your post-NBA career, what have you been up to really, really since that time?
Well, I started a company called Graduate Inc. I started that because when I retired, I ended up going back to school, getting my degree. And I did that because I had promised my great-grandmother, who I was raised by, that I was going to get my degree, but I ended up leaving early to pursue my dreams to be an NBA player. Mm-hmm. And the minute after I retired, I came back to the university and I got my degree. And
very cool.
was just so proud of that moment that I really wanted to try to start something where I can hopefully influence and inspire and get people to understand the true value of what education is. And what it could do for you. So I started my company just promoting education through Graduate Inc., where through our brand of products and merchandise, we acknowledge and inspire academic achievement. And I've been working with a lot of phenomenal agencies and different groups to promote it, partner with a lot of companies here in Cincinnati and in California, and high schools and elementary. So it's just getting the whole brand familiarity of what we're trying to do with this brand and getting it out there. And that's pretty much what I've been doing, mostly just really promoting graduate with a lot of other organizations.
Well, that's very, very cool of you. Very nice to hear that story. Well, Corie, we're running out of time, so where can our listeners go to get more info on you or really just to connect?
Well, we're just now finishing up our site, so one place they can go is graduateapparel.com and find out really what the whole Graduate Inc. program is all about. But, hey, I'm active on Facebook, I'm active on Twitter, and I'm active on Instagram. And to my Phoenix fans, man, like I said, I really miss that place. My goal in life would be able to come back there and work for the Phoenix Suns because I really love that city. And I got a buddy of mine that lives out there, Cedric Sabalis. He's always trying to get me to come out there and take part in his charity event, so I'm going to have to take him on that just so I can get back familiar out there.
I guess so, yeah. We'll be looking forward to your return here in Phoenix. Corie, thank you so much once again. All right, everyone, the Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 will be right back after this.
Want to take your decor to another level? Consider Jellyfish Art, a leading supplier of live jellyfish and their specialized ornamental aquariums and products. This includes Jellyfish Cylinder Nano, an all-inclusive kit with 3 sustainably aquacultured live moon jellyfish and everything needed to start. Also great as a gift, they're an exciting light and life source enhancing any space, living rooms, bedrooms, offices, or anywhere. Learn more at jellyfishart.com.
Doing good. How's everything?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. So
Great.
this is going to be a taped interview, so I'm going to ask for your permission to record you just at the beginning so I have that on file. And then I'm going to give a brief little bio description type thing for our listeners, and then I'm going to get right into the questions. Does that sound good?
Yeah, whatever you got planned. Sounds good.
Awesome. And then once again, it's Jack Perconte, you said? That's how you pronounce it?
Perconte, yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Just wanted to get that right.
No problem.
All right, so I'm Mason Kern, host of the Sports Watchdog Radio Show here on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 Phoenix. I have Jack Perconte on the line. Jack, do I have your permission to record you today?
Yes, you do.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll get started here in 1 sec.
Okay.
Hey there, everybody. You're listening to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060. I'm your host, Mason Kern, and joining us now is Jack Perconte, former MLB second baseman and the author of 3 books, The Making of a Hitter, Raising an Athlete, and Creating a Season to Remember. On September 13th, 1980, at the age of 26, Jack made his debut in the MLB for the Los Angeles Dodgers. That moment would spark a 6-year-long career that saw his best seasons with the Seattle Mariners from 1984 to 85, in which he had a career-best .281 batting average and 60 stolen bases on 68 attempts. Jack has dedicated his post-Major League Baseball career to helping youth by teaching the game of baseball. He now helps athletes and their parents through the complicated world of youth sports through writing about his playing and coaching experiences. He gives coaches the coaching philosophy and coaching strategies that keep the fun in the games and the stress out of it. Jack has interestingly also run 11 marathons, one a year for the past 11 years. So with all of that, Jack is here today to tell all about his post-MLB endeavors as well as his time in the league as well. Hey, Jack, welcome to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show. So glad you could be here today.
Oh, hey, Mason. Thanks a lot for having me on. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you so much again and taking the time. So first off, I just want to kind of get to know you a little bit more. So what kind of made you want to play baseball in the first place and start your MLB track and MLB career?
Well, from the time I was young, I played the 3 sports of baseball, football, basketball. And then over time, I realized baseball was my best, and I grew to love it the more I played it. And then just, kept having a little more success each year. And then by the time I went to college, I developed into a pretty good ball player. And so, success breeds wanting to keep playing and going for it. And, I always had the dream, but you never really know if you're going to make it or not. But I just kept working hard, had some great coaches along the way, and, developed such a love for the game that I've remained in it all these years, even after playing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a pretty cool success story as well. I mean, you say you keep the dream alive, you never know you're really going to make it. So what was that experience like when you did make it? playing for the Dodgers, you make your debut. What was your first game like, and how did it feel, all the emotions?
I was very scared, to be honest. I was very nervous my first game, but yeah, it was a dream come true. And my parents were able to be at the game, so that was just especially great. And it was just a culmination of all the hard work and dedication, and the sacrifices you made, and it just seemed like it all paid off. And just that call up to the majors, and then getting to play. Like I say, I was pretty nervous. I had to learn how to relax and play at that level, because at first it was very tough for me to concentrate at the major league level. But over time, I learned to relax and perform better, and then it became more like a job and just a great experience.
I'm sure that's definitely really cool, and I mean, who wouldn't be nervous before their first major league game for sure? And now, like I say, you dedicated your post-major league life to youth sports. So how would you say have youth sports really changed over the last 20 years? Have you kind of started, and then now after 20 years, how much would you say it's changed?
Yeah, it's changed a great deal, and I kind of say I was thinking of 20 years, but it's for the last number of years, it's become big business, and families invest a lot into their kids now to play. And so, they put a lot of money into it. And because of that, issues have arisen, and those are things we're still dealing with as a society. One of them is just, the affordability to play. There's a lot of low-income areas where kids don't have the money to play some sports, and that's unfortunate that they're automatically have to play just different sports than maybe the ones they really want to play because their parents and can't afford them to play. So that's one issue. The second one, because of the money people do invest now, parents are so much more involved in every step of the way for kids. When I grew up, my parents would send me off to practice, and I don't even know if they knew who was the coach of the team, and then I come back, and that was the end of it. Nowadays, parents are, like I say, they're involved every step of the way, and they want their input. A great example is I have a friend who's a coach, and, a baseball coach, and after the game, a parent came up and asked him, why his kid wasn't batting third in the lineup, and the coach said, "Excuse me?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "My son's the best hitter. He should be batting third." And the coach says, "Well, we kind of rotate our hitters, Well, the funny thing about it is they were 4-year-olds, So that's how much the parents were, and coaches, have to be prepared for that. And that kind of gets us to the last issue, I guess, is coaches nowadays, they have to be just so much better than they were in the past because they're held accountable a lot more by parents, and so it's kind of developed where coaches are, a lot of them are just win at all costs because of the pressure on them for everybody to do well, and it's kind of unfortunate too that at that level it's all about winning. So there's a number of issues that society we have to deal with, and it's kind of why I've written a few of my books to try to help. With some of those issues, how parents can deal with things and how coaches can deal with things to maybe make the experience so much better and reasonable, I guess, for everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about these issues and how you've written to kind of help maybe try and offset or at least give some advice. So what are some of the key tips for parents and coaches, would you say, to kind of help offset these issues?
Yeah, I think it starts with expectations. Parents and coaches both have to have reasonable expectations. Like I say, if they, so many parents go into it thinking their kid's going to be a superstar or at least get a college scholarship. And, and they're very hard to get, and it takes so much to get one, and they're very limited in their number. But so many parents are, have those big dreams for their kids right away, and then so that makes it tough. I think the number one key for everybody is to be positive, encourage kids, along the way, but make sure you're encouraging the right things. It's not about winning and just being the best player and having great amount of success and once again getting scholarships. But, it should be about effort and determination, teamwork, and how to respect others involved in the game. And as long as parents and coaches are teaching those things, then, everybody wins in the end. And like I say, we're not seeing that a whole lot these days because the emphasis is on just, being the best players and having the best teams. And so it's it kind of makes it tough. And, when I say encourage, I don't mean to just be, give false praise and just keep it. I run into a lot of parents when I'm coaching that, they're continually saying, hey, you're doing great. And meanwhile, the kid isn't even putting out much effort, So just to give praise isn't what it's about. But, they should be teaching them if you work hard, then any results are acceptable, So, and teaching kids how to deal with disappointments and accepting the challenges that come about, because sports is very hard. There's no easy roads to
Definitely.
Success, and there's no guarantees anybody's going to be a great player. So,
well, Jack, we're running out of time here, so where can our listeners go to connect and find more info?
I have a website, www.baseballcoachingtips.net, and that would be a place to, read my everyday information.
Well, there you go, everyone. Make sure to go check out his website and get the books on Amazon once again. Jack, thank you so much for your time. All right, everyone, the Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 will be right back after a short break.
Know a child needing to get and stay on a healthy track? The award-winning fictional children's storybook, Kids Making Healthy Choices, story to inspire fit, weight-wise kids, can help. In this first-of-its-kind book, important health themes served up in an easy-to-read style intended to help motivate overweight kids to smart lifestyle choices. This empowering and educational book is available in both a boys and girls edition. Find it at Amazon.com.
You ready to hoop it up? This is Happenings on the Hardwood.
All right, everyone. As always, at the end of the Sports Watchdog Radio Show here on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060, we're going to pivot on over to the hardwood and focus in on some basketball. So, obviously, we are in the NBA Finals and heading towards the end of the Finals. And it's been what a lot of people kind of expected out of the Cavaliers. I mean, looking at the sweep for Golden State has really come out in this series and dominated. I mean, Cleveland in Game 3 trying to muster up something. They were up by 13 at one point, but, I mean, even though LeBron had a triple-double, a 30-point triple-double, it still wasn't enough. And I think that just speaks to how, one, good this Warriors team is, and two, how hard it is for any team to beat this Warriors team, just because the Cavs did not have a horrible game. They were playing well, and the Warriors did not have a great game, in my opinion. Steph only had 11 points. He was not shooting very well at all. Klay Thompson was not being as productive as usual. Draymond Green, obviously, a well-rounded player, playing his type of game, but nobody was really doing that much except Kevin Durant. Oh man, just Kevin Durant was an assassin. He has been his whole career. And he had a finals MVP type performance in Game 3. 43 points, hitting crazy shots. I mean, he hit a dagger late in the game from kind of the same spot where he did in Game 3 of last year's finals. That left three-point kind of block-ish three-pointer on the left. And, man, it was deep, guys. It was a good 4 or 5 feet back from the arc, and he just drained it. So Kevin Durant played out of his mind. And, I mean, other than him, though, this Warriors team did not have their best game, and they still were able to win by 8. And for Cleveland, I mean, you muster up a 13-point lead. Sure, it gets cut to 6 or 8 at halftime, but you're playing at home, you have the home crowd, and then the Warriors just storm on back and ended up finding a way to win. And now you're down 3-0 in the series, and guess what? No team has ever come back from 3-0 in a series. Sure, Cleveland came back from a 3-1 deficit in 2016 or 15, but 3-0, I mean, you have no confidence, you have nothing, you lose at home, and you have to try and find a victory. It's just tough to do. But separately, Brian Colangelo and the Philadelphia 76ers have agreed mutually, apparently, to part ways. So, in the wake of the Twitter scandal, the 5 burner accounts, Brian Colangelo is gone, and that is very interesting in terms of where LeBron may go during his offseason in the summer. Obviously, I'm hoping he goes to the Lakers, but I think this puts Philadelphia's chances maybe in jeopardy. Maybe it gives him a better chance, but Brian Colangelo is out, and Brett Brown is stepping in to manage all the basketball operations and fill Colangelo's shoes just for the time being as interim. But let me know what you think about this and all the other basketball going on in the world right now, where you think LeBron should go in free agency on all my social media accounts. And stay classy, guys. I mean, this series has not been, it's been all right, I guess, but let me know what you think about it. Well, that's a wrap, everyone. Anybody wanting to connect with me, the Sports Watchdog, on Twitter can do so at @SportsWatchdog, and on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well at The Sports Watchdog. So until next time, keep your eye on the ball.
The Sports Watchdog. The Sports Watchdog, Ace and Kern.